Welcome to the Lentus Lab. Today we're going to make some molds using Dow Silastic 4234T4 silicone mold making rubber. That's a mouthful. This product makes creating silicone molds for rapid prototyping easy. Dow Silastic 4234T4 is a high tear resistant silicone mold making rubber developed for prototype design and production tooling, especially for rapid prototyping. It offers high tensile and tear strength, long mold life, no shrinkage when curing, along with highly accurate reproduction of details, and it's translucent. It's formulated with low viscosities for better filling and degassing, and it's easy to use. Let's take a look. So of course we have a priceless work of art that we're going to use as the object that we'd like to create our mold from. Your application may be more product, scientific, or industrial based, but we've chosen this item for its detail. We have it centered in the mold box we've built with sealing around the edges and around the bottom of the object with Dow silicone sealant. So I have my base and my catalyst here, and we're going to do a mixture of the two. So first we're going to open up our base, take off the ring, which also, when you put that back on, is going to help to make a seal on your container, and you can reuse the material. So what we're going to do is mix our base and our catalyst together at a 10-to-1 ratio. So I have a 2-liter container here, and I've got it marked for where 1 liter is. So for a 10-to-1 ratio, we'll mix 1 liter of base material and then 100 milliliters on top of that for a catalyst. Okay, so I'm going to scoop in and get my base, which is rather thick. And try not to make too much of a mess here. But you can see that the material is translucent too, and that's going to help you be able to see air bubbles as you go, which is really good when we start to degas this. We'll know where we are. And then also for cutting your mold out later, it's going to help you to be able to see where things are inside of the mold, so that when you're cutting the mold away, if you do like a 2-part mold, you'll be able to get in there and do it really accurately. Okay, so there's 1 liter of base. Now we're going to add our catalyst. So to 1 liter at a 10-to-1 ratio, again, we're going to add our catalyst to 100 milliliters. And I've got a little 100 milliliter mark already ticked on here. So let's fill to that. Okay. And then we're going to mix it. And it's really important to mix it thoroughly, because we won't get a good release from it later if we don't. So we need to mix our material really thoroughly here. And you'll see that I'm doing several containers, because what's going to happen is that we're going to degas this in a vacuum, and when we do, we've got a 2-liter container and 1 liter of material, but the material, when it degasses, will expand to almost double its size. So this is our vacuum, and you can see that it has a pump that goes with it. And I'm going to put our first piece of mold making material in here. I'm going to place the lid on our vacuum, and I'll close the valve for the release, and we'll start our pump. So you can see that the bubbles are starting to rise. We're getting a lot of air out. Okay, so now we're going to release some air, even out the pressure, and see where we are. And we'll remove our lid. So now we'll start pouring our material actually into our mold box. And you'll notice that I'm not pouring the material directly into, the center of the mold. I'm starting around the edges. I'm going to let the mold making material just kind of build itself up. And that'll help to mitigate some of the air that might get trapped in the mold. And through the magic of video editing, we'll fast forward through mixing, degassing, and pouring a number of additional containers of mold making material until we have our object completely covered and ready for curing. Well, all right. Now we're going to set this one aside. We'll leave a little bit of material in it so that later we can make sure that everything is cured before we start pulling our main mold part. Now we wait. So now we've waited 24 hours and I'm getting into one of the containers here that I left some of the material in, and it's all very solid inside. And we're feeling good here as far as it being solid. So I think we're good to go. So what we're going to do is take our mold box apart. I'm going to cut this. Okay, so now we have our mold and we'll start pulling it apart here. Okay. So we're going to pry our guy out of here. And you can see it's got really good releasability. And we have our mold. And we're good to go for prototyping or making additions, and that's it. Silastic brings a lot of advantages to mold making. We've seen that it releases very well, and it's translucent too, which allows split lines to be cut accurately in block molds when it's necessary to do that. There's no shrinkage, so you can count on the accuracy of your reproductions. It also has high hardness, but remains very flexible, and the stuff is really tough. Dow Silastic 4234T4 is ideal for rapid prototyping, low volume production, bridge tooling, pilot runs, functional prototyping, and on-demand production. Contact Lentus today to order your Dow Silastic 4234T4 base and catalyst and become a mold making master. Thanks for joining us in the Lentus Lab. We'll see you next time.